Students are always. All right, hello everyone. We are here. It's Sunday night. I'm here with John Marani, the tarot teacher at the Moira Press School, and we have decided that John's gonna pull a card for me.
Da, da, da.
I'm afraid. What if it's the Ten of Swords?
What if it is? That's
Oh,
one of the reasons why, Andy, we say that the tarot is a snapshot in time. It's what you see in that moment. And it's not, a lot of times you can change the outcome. So even if it's the Ten of Swords, that doesn't mean you have to live with it.
all right.
All right. So
All
I'm
right,
going
well,
to
you
keep
better
shuffling the
not pull the
cards.
Ten of Swords, because then I'll think you're a mean person. No, I'm just kidding. Um, okay, I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
How can I keep or let's say I got to think of I got a good inquiry. Um, what should I keep in mind as I grow the Moira Press YouTube channel?
An excellent question. Let me cut. I will pull. So the card I pulled is Temperance. Temperance is a card of balance, and it is balance on mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. So what that can mean is that you shouldn't push to grow too fast, especially if it's physically draining, because I know a lot of times making videos is physically draining, right? You need to be in a good, healthy place spiritually, mentally, and otherwise. And also, you want to be very careful about your emotional state when you make videos. Also, temperance astrologically represents the sign of Sagittarius. So I wouldn't be surprised if you got a large bump or a boost, or you started seeing a lot more viewers once the sun moved into Sagittarius later this year. That wouldn't be surprising to me at all. The other interesting thing about temperance is that it's a card of recovery. So it means, for example, that if you've been putting so much into the YouTube channel that you've been tired or you're feeling a little down or a little sick or what have you, Temperance says it's going to come right back. So this is just a nice card. Honestly, it's one of the best cards in the tarot for health and recovery.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Am I allowed to look at the card and see what I see?
of course.
Okay, well, so I was reading this YouTube book today and it was talking about how there's a performance mindset and a growth mindset, or like, do you focus on your performance of like how many views and all this stuff, or do you focus on growing as a human and growing in education and all this kind of stuff? And it was saying it's kind of better to focus on a learning growth mindset than a performance mindset, because we can't really control how many views we get, but we can
Mhm.
control what we're doing on this side. And when I look at that temperance card, I'm thinking like, you know, be calm and balanced and focus on the journey and growing and not being like all like, oh no, I didn't get enough views or whatever. Oh, like the card does not
Yeah.
look like this. Ah! Like the card
No,
looks like.
no, and also to me, because this card has an angel on it, to me that goes to your strong connection to God and your journaling and your talking to God. Like to me, to me, for you specifically, I would also say that obviously you're going to continue to do it, but that's going to be important for the growth of the YouTube channel specifically.
That's so interesting that you say that, because I always say I'm gonna focus on growth and let God take care of the numbers.
Well,
All right.
you honestly, you couldn't have asked for a better card to represent that than Temperance.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, now I know what it's like to get a tarot reading from you.
Yeah, you do. I'm surprised we haven't done this before now.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was cool. I can't wait for next time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thanks, John.
Sure,
Wait,
hon.
how's the tarot form going?
The tarot forum is going excellent. We are in the process of talking a lot about different aspects of tarot reading that they don't usually talk about, like how to deal with clients, which can also be applicable to astrology in some cases. Um, Last time, excuse me, we did how to rephrase questions that people have for the tarot, because sometimes they're either too leading or they're just not like will I ever is a question we don't ask the tarot. There are certain questions we don't answer, and there are certain ways we can phrase them to help the client. In addition, we also sometimes have people who come to tarot readings to ask about other people, and the tarot can do that, but only within certain ethical limits. So we talked about that too, of like, if I'm in a relationship with someone, what kinds of questions can I ask about my relationship with that person? You know,
Right.
And then what I'm going to do with the tarot classes, the descriptions I'm working on, is I'm going to start at the beginning with the major arcana and work through each of them. And then we're going to start with the suits and we're going to go through each of them so people get a real thorough grounding. And in addition, we're going to probably do what I call hybrids, half and half. So I'll do like half a class on like, here's the nuts and bolts, and then half a class where I do a reading so people can see it. That way they don't have to listen to me for a full hour, right? But they also can see how I read, which is, I think, is important too.
Yeah, the
Um,
students have mentioned that you do that at the tarot form, and they really like that. They say they learn a lot from the reading portion of the class, which
yeah,
surprises me. I think if it were me, I would want a whole class. But I mean, you're the one in charge of this, and the students seem to love you, so you're doing something right.
thanks. And I think what I like about the reading piece of the class, right, is I've taken tarot classes in the past where they're like, okay, we're going to go through all the cards, and and eventually people start to zone out a little bit when it's just one card after another, and they start getting mixed up. And if you apply the material, even so, if I do a reading, right, and they haven't had one of the cards yet that I'm describing, they get a taste of that card already. Even though I only do a 3-card reading, I'll say, oh, this card can often come up in this context. The other thing about the reading is that I use topics that people often ask me. And that was one of the topics of the tarot forum recently is, well, what kinds of questions, what topics do people want to ask you about? And there's a whole range, but there are certain ones that people ask about often. And so if I do a mock reading in the classroom setting, I can say, okay, what if this was applied to work? What if it was applied to spirituality? What if it was applied to love? And it shifts the meaning and it allows people to apply it in their head. And
Hmm.
so I think that's why I like doing that also. And having it half and half means people who are auditory learners get a good piece when I go over things, but then people who are visual learners see the cards and see me working with them, and that helps them too. I get more of the kinesthetic learners.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. We just love having you at school, and the tarot forum for everyone who's wondering is Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30
Yep,
Pacific time. All right.
yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, hon.
Bye.